4 years of undesirable death. Millions of people died in both East and West America, and it will soon become the largest civil war in all of world history. But it isn't just stories of awesome generals, assassinations, and murders, bombing on random forts, battles that would mark history. It's also about what this war left behind. This war was not only fought over emancipation, but also fought over the unition of the country. And the country after it was called the United States. People thought of them as Americans, not New Yorkers, Virginians, and all of that things. A long time ago, before the Civil War, nobody talked about America. The history classes would not teach America, they would teach the Revolution, but they would only teach about that state's history. I mean, they would just be like, and George Washington became the first president, and then boom, jump right into Virginia, or boom, jump right into California, or Montana, or any other state. After the United States of America, they weren't just a big clump of United States, they were the United States. And that's the name of the country now, the United States of America. But another thing, emancipation. Sure, the slaves were freed, but there were still many generations to come. In fact, it hasn't even ended now, where we still need to fight against slavery. Well, slavery when it comes to races. Of course, but after this, slavery was not really appreciated. But slavery, when it comes to words, was a thing. Now, literally calling someone yellow, undesirable, a weakling, just because of the color of their skin or their religion, is usually called bad. But still, that doesn't stop us from making it harder for people of different colors and races to get jobs and all those things. And we're still fighting with this right now, sadly. We come from slavery all the way to the era of civil rights, where people like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, never mind, she's in the Civil War, but still, she was alive at the time. Frederick Douglass, same thing with Harriet Tubman. And of course, other types of civil rights, not just for the color of your skin, but for your gender, your ethnicity, whatever that means, or whatever, your race, your religion. Why do I need to keep on repeating race? Maybe it's because it's so important. The Civil War was a turning point where human beings were able to see themselves as human. But the fight will still rage on. Just because you hit one milestone doesn't mean it'll be smooth sailing from here. When you reach one milestone, it only gets harder and harder and harder. After Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, we had a long line of terrible presidents, which affected the United States of America a lot, which also ended up leading to some of the worst things that ever happened in American history. For example, the Great Depression. But the Civil War also made it good. The United States of America has a strong military nowadays. Before the Civil War, during 1812, they had a bunch of militias, and they used it for conflict with rebellions and stuff. But they never had a strong standing military until the Civil War. The United States Civil War created what we know as America. Freedom, equality, power, military strength. But it also created bad things, like the Depression. And this we need to get. The Civil War is not just a combination of stories you can listen to and be inspired by. It is the foundation of what our country lies upon right now. All these historical figures are now hailed as heroes and are now part of American pop culture. Not all of them are good. We know John Wilkes Booth as a terrible demon who killed one of our best presidents, Abraham Lincoln. Robert E. Lee was a very good general, but he made many mistakes and was on the wrong side of the war. And all of these are true. But is it just that? We live here now because of the foundation of our nation. And one important brick that holds up the house would be the 4 treacherous years of the Civil War. From the start of Fort Sumter and secession to the end in the signing of Appomattox Courthouse and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The Civil War is the most important event in American history, and we cannot forget it. We will not forget it. There are many things that echo throughout history that originated in this one war. The Gettysburg Address, for example. But this Civil War, we are forgetting one thing. It isn't just something that only was about the important people. It was about the many people who we may never even know about ever again, who served in the war to fight for their country. They fought for their country and their country only, to preserve the Union. And remember, not all of them fought for slavery. So yes, we were brave at that time, but not all of us fought for slavery. Heck, barely anybody fought for slavery at the time. Well, that's a happy note.